In the anime and light novel community, Reinhard is seen as this super OP character. There are several videos just talking about his strength and all the abilities he has, but I have yet to see a video diving a little deeper into his character, and I believe this is due to the lack of information we have on him. But since I thought Reinhard was so interesting, or intriguing I should say, today I took it upon myself to share my perspective on who I believe to be one of the most tragic characters in Re:Zero. Before we jump into this analysis on Reinhard Van Astrea, I just want to say I am not fully caught up with Re:Zero and have not finished Arc 5, so this will be a bit of a rough analysis with a bit of speculation. Now, let's jump right in. Reinhard Van Astrea, the Sword Saint and most powerful character in Re:Zero. From the very beginning of the story, Reinhard is portrayed to be one of the most powerful people Subaru could have ever encountered. He had made easy work of Elsa, someone Subaru could never fathom defeating on his own, and wields the dragon sword Reed, one of the most powerful blades in the story. The strength, the looks, the personality, and the love of the world of Re:Zero itself. This man seems to have it all. A character who seemingly never has to struggle, never has to cry, and who has the strength to protect everything important to him. But what if I told you that was all a lie? A misconception. That Reinhard is not only one of the most tragic characters in Re:Zero, but is almost never truly happy, and deals with an ongoing mental battle with self-worth. Let's dive into the mind of Reinhard Van Astrea, as much as I can, at least. Ever since Reinhard had been introduced, there was always an air of self-deprecation to him. This can be seen after he saves Subaru from the thugs and explains how he feels he is still struggling to live up to his family's expectations. He constantly speaks in a manner which is far too modest, which makes you wonder how much he values himself. The Sword Saint is the blade of Lagunica, a pillar of strength. All of Reinhard's predecessors played this role, and Reinhard feels like he needs to do his part so that his life can have worth and meaning. But this lack of self-worth stems even deeper than that, and goes all the way back to his childhood. When Reinhard was born, he had been loved by his family and was said to have been blessed by the very world itself. Once he reached the age of 2, his mother Luana Astrea fell into a coma, known as the Sleeping Beauty disease, causing his once loving father to be depressed and turn into an alcoholic. Slowly but surely, the young Reinhard's happy life was slipping away from him. All he had left was his grandfather Wilhelm and grandmother Theresia, but soon, even that would be taken away from him. When Reinhard was 5 years old, he received the divine blessing of the Sword Saint, while Theresia was fighting against the right will due to Heinkel, the leader of the Royal Guard, backing out. Losing this blessing caused her to lose her life in battle. Reinhard not only lost his grandmother, but his relationship with his father and grandfather was in tatters. Wilhelm, who couldn't be there to protect her, had begun to blame Reinhard for the death of his wife, and Heinkel eventually did the same. It's possible Heinkel blamed his son because of the gradual guilt he felt for running away from the battle. From once having all the love in the world to having it all stripped away in exchange for this so-called blessing. This blessing was more of a curse that took everything from him. His family, his freedom, and all the love that existed in his life. This is the tragedy of Reinhard Van Astrea. Due to the events of his past filled with conflicts, Reinhard constantly does his best to avoid conflict at all costs, and always gives people the benefit of the doubt. Reinhard wants to share the love and kindness that he once had as a child with others. Instead of inflicting pain onto others, he chooses to bear the pain and snuff it out with respect and kindness. He believes in the good in people no matter what. In the fight against Puck in the alternate reality from the trials, he said a line that stood out to me. As Puck is ending the world, Reinhard explains that he must stop Puck and that if Puck should hate anyone for what happened to Amelia in that timeline, it should be him. Even though he had no relation or ties to the scenario, he still chose to take responsibility and bear the pain of Puck. Though noble, this unwavering faith he has in people can be turned against him. Not everyone deserves sympathy, and that's a lesson I believe Reinhard struggles to grasp. It could be that he believes that everyone deserves a second chance because he feels as though he was given a second chance. By being of service to the kingdom of Lagunica, Reinhard is able to feel like he is atoning for the death of his grandmother that he may feel responsible for. And that is something he's gonna have to learn to let go of. Understand that it was not his fault that his grandmother died, and he is not to blame for any of the events that transpired in his childhood. Being blessed with all these gifts causes Reinhard to struggle with connecting to people. An example of this is when Subaru had fought Julius and he was talking to Reinhard afterwards. And Reinhard couldn't understand why Subaru would do such a thing. Why would he fight Julius? He had gained nothing from the fight. And you can see in this interaction that Reinhard's desperately trying to connect with Subaru, find some type of understanding, but he simply just can't. And this lack of understanding between the two caused a rift between the two characters. Due to living a life filled with fleeting connections, the thought of truly connecting with someone is something that I believe is foreign to Reinhard. And that is why he deeply desires to have this connection. The connection that can outlast anything. The connection that family members should have. The connection that he lost long ago. Deep down he's lonely, isolated. To many he is seen as nothing more than a weapon. Reinhard had no friends as a child, nor did he have any family who truly cared about him past the age of 5. His life has been one person dismissing him after the other. Though he's admired, but more for his indomitable strength than as a person. He's something to be feared and looked upon with awe. It's as though the whole world is expecting this boy to carry all the weight on his back. And that's simply not possible. It doesn't matter how powerful he is. Reinhard needs people by his side. Reinhard needs people to have his back. He deserves to be treated like a human being. In Arc 5, when Subaru told Reinhard to rely on him, that moved Reinhard to his core, and he couldn't help but smile. The reason he dislikes being referred to as a hero or a monster is because he just wants people to see him for who he truly is. Not the sword saint, but Reinhard, the person. Never in his life had he met anyone who could casually tell him that they'll cover him, and that they'll be there to have his back, rather than he being there to have theirs. It was the first time Reinhard had ever felt like a true person. And as Reinhard and Subaru gear up to fight against Regulus and save Emilia in Arc 5, I'm hoping that through this battle with Subaru, Reinhard can learn to have a little more faith in others, and have them covered for where he's lacking. So whenever he needs a shoulder to cry on, or somebody to lean on, they'll be right there, waiting for him. So in conclusion, the Sword Saint Reinhard Van Astrea wields the strength to protect, but can't protect as he pleases. Possesses the face to charm any woman who lays eyes on him, but hides his true face behind a mask. He is loved by the very world itself, but that love is a curse that binds him. The boy who was forced to clip his wings and sell his freedom in exchange for a strength he never asked for. That is the tragedy of Reinhard Van Astrea.